Good day everyone, we are the Group 8 and we are going to discuss about the types of business ownership. Since we are business administration students, I think we are already familiar with the concepts and ideas that we are going to explain later. So this topic will be discussed by Ms. Sunshine Barricas, Ms. Janine Romulo, and yours truly, Mr. Adrian Cabagi. So let's start. Before creating a business, entrepreneurs should carefully consider which type of business structure is best suited in their enterprise. So basically, there are four types of business structure or ownership, namely sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, and cooperative. So first, I will discuss the sole proprietorship and partnerships. At the end of the lesson, the students should know the different types of business, know the similarities and differences of each type of business, and enable to understand the concepts and ideas of each type of business ownership. So what is a sole proprietorship? A sole proprietorship is an unincorporated business that one person owns and manages. It is the simplest and most common form of business ownership. Sole proprietorship is a business owned and run by someone for their own benefit. The business existence is entirely dependent on the owner's decisions. So, when the owner dies, so does the business. As the business and the owner are not legally separate, it is the simplest form of business structure. It is also known as individual entrepreneurship, sole trader, or simply proprietorship. Keep in mind, the weight of the company will rest on your shoulders alone, and there could be a lack of continuity for your business if you are unavailable. It is also worth noting that it can be difficult to raise capital on your own, but it is not impossible. Now, we are going to discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietorship. Let's start with the advantages. First, there is very little regulation for sole proprietorships. There are very few government rules and regulations that are specific to proprietors. Sole proprietors must keep proper records, file, and pay taxes on the business income and other personal income sources. Government rules for large enterprises and public companies, such as financial disclosure, require far more administration and do not apply to sole proprietorships. Second, all profits are subject to the owner. There is no legal separation between the owner and the business, so the owner gets 100% of the profits. Although all profits go to the owner, taxes are paid once, and proprietors pay taxes individually. Next is, owners have total flexibility when running the business. Proprietors control all aspects of their business, including production, sales, finance, personnel, etc. This degree of freedom is attractive to many entrepreneurs as the venture's success also means personal success. And lastly, very few requirements for starting, often only a business license. Compared to their business forms, there is a very little paperwork a proprietor needs to file with their local authorities. As a result, proprietors do not have to wait long before they have the permission to carry on a business. The startup fees are also low, in line with many government policies that encourage entrepreneurs to take risk and grow the economy by minimizing the friction of starting new business. So now, we're done with the advantages. Now we're going to discuss the disadvantages of sole proprietorship. So owner is 100% liable for business debts. There is no legal separation between the owner and the business, similar to how all profits flow to the owner. All debts and obligations rest with the proprietor. If the business cannot satisfy its obligations, creditors may pursue the proprietor's personal assets in order to be repaid. Next is, equity is limited to the owner's personal resources. Owners put their own resources to bear when going into business for themselves. There are limits for their financial resources and the amount of credit they get when they seek out lending relationships. So, third disadvantage is Ownership of proprietorship is difficult to transfer without a separate legal identity. Sole proprietorships cannot readily pass any intangible assets from one owner to another. Aside from equipment and fixed assets, the value of the business is inherently tied to the proprietor. Lastly, no distinction between personal and business income. So as I have said earlier, there is no legal separation between the owner and the business. It is similar to how all profits flow to the owner and all debts and obligations rest with the proprietor. So we're done with sole proprietorship. Now we're going to discuss the second type of business ownership, which is the partnership. A partnership is a non-incorporated business created between two or more people. It is fairly easy and inexpensive to form this type of business, and startup costs are usually split equally between partners. A legal agreement should be drawn up to outline how profits will be shared. Similarly, there's no legal separation between you and your business. Your personal liability is unlimited, but you're also financially responsible for any business decisions your partner makes. And so, if a contract is broken or debts are incurred without your knowledge, you're still on the hook financially. While you'll have a partner or partners to help you manage the business, it can be challenging to find the right person or people to work with. And conflicts could create problems for the business. But if the partnership is right, your business could flourish. So basically, there are two types of partnerships, the general and limited partnerships. In general partnerships, both owners invest their money, property, labor, etc. to the business and are both 100% liable for business debt. In other words, even if you invest a little into a general partnership, you are still potentially responsible for all its debt. General partnerships do not require a formal agreement. Partnerships can be verbal or even implied between the two business owners. So let's discuss the limited partnership. In limited partnerships, it allows partners to limit their own liability for business debts according to their portion of ownership or investment. Limited partnerships require a formal agreement between the partners. They must also file a certificate of partnership with the state. On the other hand, general partnerships, as I have said earlier, it does not require a formal agreement. Partnerships can be verbal or even implied between the two business owners. A general partner may invest money into the company. However, a general partner may also be personally liable for the debts of the company, while the limited partner is not. Only a general partner's personal assets, which are in addition to the business assets, can come into play when it comes to paying off the debts of the company. So now, we're going to discuss the advantages of partnerships. So first is shared resources provide more capital for the business. So there's a saying that two heads are better than one. So unlike the sole proprietorship, the owner should provide the capital for the business alone, while in partnerships you have partners to help you to generate more capital for your business. So basically, two or more people can generate more capital than one person. So next is each partner shares the total profits of the company. So usually, if the portion of your investment is high or big, when it comes to the division of the profits, it should be based on the portion of the investment as well as the paying of the debts or the liability of the company or the business. So third is similar flexibility and simple design of a proprietorship. So just like the proprietorship, it is very simple and flexible in making these types of business ownership, unlike the other types of business structure or ownership. Lastly, it is inexpensive to establish a business partnership formal or informal. So whether it is limited or general partnership, it is inexpensive to establish, just like the sole proprietorship. So as you can see, these are the disadvantages of partnership. First is each partner is 100% responsible for debts and losses. So it refers to the general partnership. As I have said earlier, even if you invest a little in the company or the business, you are still or potentially responsible for the debts and losses. Next is selling the business is difficult. It requires finding a new partner. So the sale of an entire partnership basic business generally takes one of two forms. The partner sells all of their partnership interest, or the partnership sells some or all of its assets and distributes the cash and any remaining property to the partners. Lastly, a partnership ends when any partner decides to end it. So, in partnership, when one partner wants to leave the partnership generally dissolves. So dissolution means the partners must fulfill any remaining business obligations, pay off of all debts, and divide any assets and profits among themselves. So a partnership does not necessarily end when a partner exits. So the remaining partners may continue with the partnership. Therefore, your partnership agreement covers what happens when a partner wants to leave, become incapacitated, or dies. So that will end my topic. I am hoping that you have recalled and understand the concepts of sole proprietorship and partnerships. So a sole proprietorship business must be registered through DTI and BIR, and a partnership business must be registered under its partnership name in SEC or Securities and Exchange Commission and BIR. So now Ms. Sunshine Barricas will discuss the next type of business ownership, which is the corporation. Thank you.
Good day, everyone, and I will be your next presenter for today. And my name is Sunshine Barricas, and I will be discussing the corporation. So, corporation is the most complex form of business organization. It is not simply formed like the sole proprietorship or partnership, where you can just have your capital or your asset and put it into your business, or seek for partners where you can contribute your industry and assets to build your own businesses and have one of your partners to manage it. Corporation is more broad and complex than that. One of the differences between corporation from other business organization is that it is owned by owners called stockholders or shareholders. They are the ones that hold the certificate of stocks, meaning the proof of their ownership for the shares or equity of the company. A corporation is a separate legal entity, meaning it is distinct from its owner. Its owner or stockholders and the corporation cannot be said as one, but owners at its owners and the corporation as its own. It is an artificial entity that is created by the operations of law. It has a right of succession, powers, attributes, and properties that are authorized by law and incident to its existence. Meaning, if you are an owner of a share or part of a corporation, your descendants can succeed your rights or your shares when you passed away, and the corporation's operations can continue until it's stated or provides life in the law. And then, as it is also considered as an entity or a separate entity, though it is an artificial one, it can also have the power like an individual or a person. Like it can be sued, and also it can acquire properties and also sell properties like a person do. The owners of the corporations only have limited liabilities, meaning they can only be liable to a certain extent or to the extent of their investment in the corporation. And also, they cannot be liable for the corporation's debt. Since it is a separate entity, the corporation's debt is its own and the owner's debt it is separate from the corporation's liabilities. Also, the creditors cannot have claims to the shareholders or the owner's personal assets. They can only have the claims in the corporation's asset since it also go back to the principle of it is a separate entity, meaning they are different individuals and not as one, even though the shareholders are the owner of the corporation. The ownership in a corporation is divided into two, which are the common stocks and share of stocks. So, common stocks is a security that represents ownership in the equity of the business, while share of stocks is a unit of ownership in the business. We can say that the um, common stocks is only a claim for the equity of the company, while the shares of stocks is a claim for the business itself. Incorporation of a corporation is comprised of not less than 5 but not more than 15 people who act as one to achieve the corporation's interest or objectives. So, a corporation can be stock or non-stock corporation. A stock corporation is one that divides its capital shares and are authorized to distribute profits into the securities or shareholders based on their held shares. So, non-stock corporations are the ones that no part of its income is distributed to its trustees, members, or officers. Shareholders can own many stocks, but are not directly or normally involved in the day-to-day operations of the firm, but they set policies for the management of the firm. Normally, a stocks is equals to one vote, meaning the more outstanding stocks or shares that you have, the more power you have in the decisions in the control of the firm. A person who held 50% or more of shares can is considered as a major stockholder. Corporations are governed with the Corporation Code of the Philippines and are registered with the SEC or Security and Exchange Commission. Some are registered or listed in the PSE or Philippine Stocks Exchange, which is the one that provides a platform where investors can buy or sell a stocks from the listed companies. So, a private corporation that is organized or formed under the Corporation Code of the Philippines is deemed to be incorporated after the SEC or Security and Exchange Commission issues its certificate of incorporation under its official seal. A corporation can exist for not more than 50 years unless sooner dissolved or extended. So it can also not be extended earlier than 5 years before its expiration, not unless there are a reasonable excuse or reasons determined by the SEC or Security and Exchange Commission. All in all, corporation is the most complex of all business organization. It is comprised of not less than 5 but not more than 15 people that operate as one to achieve the corporation's goal or objectives. It is also a separate legal entity that is distinct from its owners. And its owners are called shareholders and they have limited liability to the extent of their investment in the corporation. As the corporation is treated as separate legal entity, it is also have the power or the rights to sue, to be sued, to acquire properties or to sell properties, and other rights that an individual can have as a person. It is registered under the SEC or Security and Exchange Commission, while other corporations are registered or listed under the PSE or Philippine Stocks Exchange, where there is a platform where investors can buy and sell shares from the listed companies. And lastly, corporations are governed by the Corporation Code of the Philippines and can exist for not more than 50 years but can be extended under the provision of the SEC or Security and Exchange Commission. So that concludes my presentation for today. I will be passing the table to the next reporter, which is Miss Janine Romulo, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Janine J. Romulo and today I am going to discuss another form of business which is cooperative. So a cooperative is an autonomous and duly registered association of people with common bond of interest who have voluntarily joined together to achieve their social, economic, and cultural needs and aspirations by making equitable contributions to the capital required, patronizing their products and services, and accepting fair share of risk and benefits. A cooperative business is a legal structure that is owned and governed by and functions for the benefit of those who use its services. In cooperative business, they follow 7 principles, namely the voluntary and open membership, democratic member control, member economic participation, autonomy and independence, education, training and information, cooperation among cooperatives, and concern for community. So the first one is the voluntary and open membership. Cooperatives are open to any person who wants to be a member of it. So it is purely voluntary and there is no compulsion when you want to be a part of a cooperative. The second one is the democratic member control. Cooperatives are democratic organizations that are controlled by the members who actively participates in the management of the cooperative. That is why in cooperative we have the so-called General Assembly. The General Assembly is composed of all of the members of the cooperative and they have the power about the control and management and decision making for the cooperative. The next one is member economic participation. Here, members contribute equitably and democratically control the capital of their properties. Another one is autonomy and independence. Cooperatives are autonomous self-help organizations that are controlled by their members. So when cooperatives enter into an agreement with another organizations, including government or to raise capital from external sources, they shall do so on terms that ensure democratic control of their members and maintain their cooperative autonomy. The next one is education, training, and information. Cooperatives shall provide education and training to their members, elected and appointed representatives, managers, and employees. It is required so that they can contribute effectively and efficiently to the development of the cooperative. Here, directors and employees have regular training annually because it is a part of the requirements to be passed to the Cooperative Development Authority. The next one is cooperation among cooperatives. Cooperatives serves their members most effectively and strengthen the cooperative movement by working together through local, national, regional, and international structures. Another one is the concern for community. Cooperatives works for sustainable development of their communities through policies approved by their members. So this is similar to the social responsibilities in corporation. Moving on, let us now talk about the types of cooperatives. So the first one is credit cooperatives. It is one that promotes and undertakes savings and lending services to their members. It generates common pool of funds in order to provide financial assistance to its members. This is the type of cooperative that extends loans to their members and they also allows their members to put savings through depositing on their account. So next is the consumer cooperatives. Its primary purpose is to procure and distribute commodities to the members and non-members. So examples of these are those grocery cooperatives that offers goods and sometimes services to their members. So the next one is the producers cooperatives. It is the one that undertakes joint production, whether agricultural or industrial. It is formed and operated by its members to undertake the production and processing of raw materials or goods produced by its members into finished or processed products for sale by the cooperative to its members and non-members. So, example for this are those cooperative for banana growers and rice farmers, where the cooperatives are the one who finance for the production and processing of the raw materials. The next one is marketing cooperatives. It is the one that engages in the supply of production inputs to members and markets their products. So this one is more on sales and advertising of the products that the members of it are selling. Another one is the service cooperatives. It is one which engages in medical and dental care, hospitalization, transportation, insurance, housing labor, electrical and light power, communication, professional, and other services that their members need. The last type is the multi-purpose cooperatives. It is one which combines two or more of the business activities of these different types of cooperatives. So, for example, a cooperative offers loans and savings while at the same time offers services like medical and dental care, hospitalization. So, it is a hybrid of credit cooperative and service cooperative. That is an example of a multi-purpose cooperative. For the summary of the cooperative type of business, here we have two common characteristics of cooperatives. So when it comes to ownership, all members jointly own the business. And when it comes to governance, as democratically controlled businesses, cooperatives center on the one member, one vote principle. This right is exercised at a cooperative's annual general meeting where members can vote directly for board of directors. This governance structure is reinforced not only by the cooperative's own bylaws, but also by the legislation under which the cooperative is incorporated. So that is all for the cooperative form of business.
Thank you for watching and listening.